I just wish everybody not to panic. I'll try to be friendly with AI as much as you can, because that's going to be new normal. At Zap, we commanded all the personnel to use AI to boost productivity within the company, no matter what you do. You're in the marketing, you're in the development, everybody using the different forms of AI. And I think we're going to be much better world with the AI, because technology always unite people and make world a better place.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of ZapTalk, and joining me today, as always, live from Panama, we have Alex Zapp.
Hey guys,
Alex, welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Nice hat. And also we have David Moses joining us, who has been really pivotal in many different roles with some of the world's most recognized brands, such as I think HP, T-Mobile, CNN.com, Playboy Enterprises, Delta Airlines, where he was the first leader to automate testing for Delta.com, and the Delta mobile app. David, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right, Dave, I have to ask, what was it like to work at Playboy Enterprises?
I heard that little skip there for a second. Yeah, that one always comes up on the resume. So that was actually great, a lot of fun. And it was at the perfect time of my life. I was their perfect demographic. And when I first got there, I was just sort of mortified to walk around a corporate office with all the pictures around and everything, but I got used to it pretty quickly.
Nice. It'd be like one of those places I think you would meet Alex. I don't know. Where do you end up meeting Alex, I guess?
Alex and I met at the HP Discover conference in Washington, D.C., and he was throwing one of his Zap parties, which, became pretty famous among those conferences and everything. And it was a lot of fun, and we really hit it off. And we went from there, and we've been friends ever since. And he's got some great technology too.
Yeah. And speaking of Playboy, I used to live in Vegas on the Hugh Hefner Street. They do have a street, Hugh Hefner.
Yeah. Fun fact, I taught Christy Hefner how to use email.
No.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's a metaphor for a memo. She got it right away.
Wow. Awesome. So yeah, Alex Zapp, his parties were legendary. I've been to like a lot of those conferences years ago, and I remember people go, "Did you go to the Zap party?" I was never cool enough to be invited, so at least we know David is cool enough to be invited to one of these parties. So congrats to you.
We haven't been acquainted, but we're planning to reinstate the Zap parties with other vendors right now that we're signing up partnerships. So we're going to be back in the game. I promise you that.
Awesome. Well, look forward to it.
Alex knows how to get a crowd together and make everybody happy.
Absolutely. So, David, I'm just curious to know, it seems like you really learned about automation and really implemented a lot of it at Delta. Maybe a little background, like what you did at Delta, how you got involved with automation, and then maybe pivot to maybe some solutions you use, and then how maybe Alex got involved with you.
It's an interesting career path. I've never had the same job twice. And I was brought in to Delta to manage the quality assurance for Delta.com, the kiosk and the mobile devices. But actually the mobile devices didn't exist at the time. The Delta app was built
What year
while I
was it there?
And
around 2011, something like that, 2010, 2011.
Yeah, I'm terrible with years.
I remember because we came up to the market as a software company, and I presented ZapFix. Back then it was an add-in for Quick Test Pro, which was applicable to mobile and other platforms. It was in Vienna on the HP in Austria, an HP conference. So that was when we came up to the market as a software vendor. We used to be consulting firm, being a Mercury SWAT team, and then within HP we came up as a software, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is whenever I arrived at Delta, there was no automation. They had attempted it a few times, but it does really take, the coordination of everyone and the approval of the management to set aside the time to do it, get the right staff to do it, things like that, which, we're moving more and more towards not needing as much staff to get started, which is great. I'm sure we'll talk about that more in a minute. But, we were the first to automate all that. And whenever we brought in the mobile app, when that was developed, which is still a fantastic app to this day, I still use it. And we needed to be able to test that properly. And it was very much a DevOps environment by that point. We were actually doing DevOps before we were actually doing DevOps before the term was coined. And we brought in Zap to actually work with it. And here's the disclaimer. Alex and I are friends. We've been friends for a long time. But there's no way I'd have brought his technology if it didn't work. I wasn't going to put my job on the line for that. But yeah, it actually worked.
But we actually became friends after you've seen the technology. Once you adopted us, then we started actually hitting out. When you came to my party, that's the first time I met you, like among other guests, right? So we used to have like hundreds of people at the party, so I wouldn't remember everyone. And a lot of people that I still don't remember, of course, it's hard to remember everyone, right? But this is how it all started. Yeah.
All right. So you went to this party, David, and you actually learned about Zap, and then you brought it into ZapTest into your organization, or how did that go from the party to actually saying, hey, not only is this guy pretty wild and cool, but the tool is pretty cool too. Let me try it out.
Yeah, definitely. Alex and I met at his party, and there was a little lag time in between then, and we actually developed the mobile app at Delta. So we got to be good friends and everything, and we decided to bring it in to test the mobile app. Now, disclaimer here, I'm not going to bring a technology in just because we're friends. You know, it has to work. You know, you're putting your job on the line.
Joe, I'm kidding you not. He was giving me a hard time to the extent that I was really aggravated with that. I said, man, you shouldn't do it to me. But he was very meticulous about it. It wasn't easy for us.
Yeah, you have to be, right? But yeah, we worked it out, got it running, and yeah, it definitely helped.
Now, when you say it helped, what were you struggling with that you had issues with, and you finally said, I need the solution. The solution actually filled that, whatever that pain point was?
We're talking about quite a few years ago at this point, and at that point, you had problems with mobile testing in every way you turned. And one of the big issues especially was getting the right people to be able to do the automation and all that. And one of the things that Alex was able to do with Zap was remove a lot of that upfront work, remove a lot of the need for people to do that. And whenever people talk about automation and taking jobs, I always ask, if I'm doing a keynote or something, I'm like, all right, so how many of you have been asked to do more with less constantly? And how many of you have been asked to reduce your teams and things like that? So there's always work for people. You know, you're always asked to do more with less. So freeing up automation isn't a job stealer. It's a productivity thing. It's an efficiency thing.
Absolutely. So what was different about this tool? That a lot of times people get a tool and it works from while the vendor's with them. And then the vendor leaves, and like a month later, you're like, it all falls apart, and you're like, I was bamboozled. How did your experience go once implementing this solution?
Good. You know, it didn't require that need for somebody to be there holding its hand. And, you know, I've worked with companies that their idea of implementing the tool was bring a team in and have them sit with you and work and work and work, and then hire an automation engineer or something like that to make sure it's running and all that. What I was able to do with Zap was just get it into the environment, have somebody working on the automation, not on the app, and not making sure it recognized this and not making sure it didn't break here, and be able to keep running forward, you know, because as I always say, if you're coasting, you're going downhill.
Yeah, for sure. Were there any other solutions you tried? Were there any open source solutions? Because a lot of times people say, yeah, we need a tool, but I'm not spending money. Let's try Selenium or something like that.
We did. We looked around, of course, we tried to look at all the competition that was out there, and, trying to make the best decision. You try to do all your due diligence. And that was one of the things we kept running into, from environment problems to, the people issue, and just try to make the best decision. But yeah, definitely do your due diligence.
So, Alex, when you go into an organization like that, that's starting off with, like back then, once again, mobile was new, DevOps probably wasn't even a thing really, and they're trying to get things to work. How do you meet that challenge yourself as a vendor to say, hey, not just trying to sell a solution, but your reputation's on the line. You want to give the right tool to actually make sure it's working. So, like now, 20 years later or so, 15 years later, they're still talking about it.
Right. Thanks, Joe. So the idea is pretty much the same. Our philosophy did not change since then. We just package it better this time over the experience distributing software, right? But the whole idea is we in the partnership business. It's not about automation. It's about supporting our the customer teams and the leadership of the customer teams as a reliable partner. And we put a lot of emphasis on the proof of concepts. We don't ask for money until we really, really give our customers foundation and the solid decision making. Make sense? So we found it over the years, even when we were deploying solution and the post sales as a part of the professional services organization in the Mercury and HP, we found it the best way because usual automation technology is very strategic. We're not trying to win the day, right? We're trying to win the year. And if you already invested your time onboarding technology, making it your go-to tool, right? So everyday technology that you use and all your organization uses, we want to make sure that you made right choice with the vendor, with the technology, that the processes that you have. And the usual process is very diverse in an organization like Delta. When you go from group to group, there's a different process, different skill set, different goals that you need to adjust to. Make sense and adapt the whole technology to wrap around that. So that's pretty much our strategy even today. That's why we offer in our 6 months no cost opt-out POCs to our prospects to make sure they solidly choose.
Cool. All right. So, David, what were the skill sets then? Because you mentioned, you needed to have an automation expert. What was the situation for you? What was the personalities or the skill sets that you were dealing with? Like Alex mentioned, every organization is different, and even groups within a large organization are different.
Right. Yeah, you definitely had a different level of need for expertise in scripting, especially back then. A lot of the tools, not just Zap, but a lot of the tools have really come a long way with that. But a lot of them still need things, like I mentioned earlier, like an automation engineer, an automation architect. Test management is not where it needs to be in a lot of the tools, and it certainly wasn't back then. At that point, HP still didn't have a mobile testing tool out yet, and we were definitely an HP shop, so we were looking for solutions, and a lot of them were that gives you an idea how brand new they were.
Right. So, Alex, how did you have a mobile solution ready to go then, though?
Well, first of all, my background and my experience. I've been on the most challenging engagement that Mercury had back then and being grandfather to HP. So I had a pretty solid judgment of the market need, if you will. With my experience changing the outcomes of the automation process in the blue chip organization on the larger scale, I had this confidence that we're on the right track with the technology that we developed. Makes sense? And I had a confidence that what we're bringing up, even though it's very innovative and very new, is going to change the way organizations doing automation for mobile platforms. And that pretty much how we came up, turned into the software company. That was our starting point to become software, what you see today, that's been evolved over the that many years, per se, right? And we still carry this attitude up today, because today with ZapTest AI, so it's a AI-infused technology. It's absolutely new era for software automation altogether, different objective, different goals, and what's not. And this experience, over 25 years experience that we have, and advanced implementation, meaning that it's not just I spent the whole 20 years in one of few companies. I had experience talking and implementing technology in absolutely diverse organization with the high altitude. And I'm implementing this all knowledge into technology, what it is today.
All right. So, David, is that true? So you get a new tool, you're using new technology, you have ZapTest there. I assume it didn't have all the features you need, since it was like mobile was kind of new. Were you able to work back and forth with ZapTest to say, hey, this isn't up to speed, or we need this feature to get this working? Was there any that type of give and take that you get when you do work with a vendor?
You bet you did. I'm going to jump the gun, but you bet he did.
Yeah, I was going to say, like you said earlier, I gave him a hard time. But yeah, those were early days. They definitely were early days. And it's interesting to see how it's progressed over time. And looking again with all the automation companies out there, they've all come leaps and bounds from where they were at that time. And, now I think you're looking for efficiencies. You're looking for things like, can this tool do all these things, or do I have to buy 5 different tools to do it? That's one thing I appreciate about the Zap tools is there's one tool, there's one real tool for all the testing, and looking at areas of software automation excellence, having a central part of the organization dealing with automation could be massive. I think that's a big miss that a lot of companies haven't done out there. Alex and I have spoken about that before, and something like this works perfectly for that. Can you point it at something besides mobile or a website or something like that and test it? And I think that's something to look for in a tool now.
Absolutely. So nowadays, AI is all the rage. Just curious to get your thoughts now, David, that is this something that you deal with as well? Have you tried any these AI solutions or the AI features in ZapTest?
I have not tried them in ZapTest, but one of the things about AI that I really look at is efficiency. And that's what we're looking at these days with, I don't code. I'm not a coder. My background is in networking. So it's amazing to me now that I can pull up some of these AI tools and generate code that works. That's the other point. It actually works. And so not being an automation engineer, I was a manager, I didn't actually get there and type the code in, again, with the networking background. But looking at something like a Zap tool now, where you can go in and use the AI to actually write any code that you may need that it doesn't maybe automatically discover or things like that, without the express knowledge and skill set and background to be able to do that, is pretty amazing, really, when you look at that.
So, Alex, how different is this from record and playback? You got a bad rap as Snake Oil with Windrunner and then QTP. You just record and play it back. Selenium IDE never really fully worked for anyone. So, how is this different with the AI piece?
Well, just as a joke, I mean, the record playback, it was a good sales motion sort of idea that everybody been sold on. For us as a post-sale team that been delivering all the first-year implementations, it was actually hard work to convince people otherwise. That's it's a good idea, but really, if we want to be efficient and lower the maintenance, we want to do vice versa. We need to start with the lower development level, kind of, right? This is actually in the previous life, we still have it, video scenario recording. So it's allowed, instead of recording executable script, you just present to your automators video scenario and our tool capable of parsing it into the objects. And soon we're releasing technology that will be able to even generate source code based on the video analysis using AI. So, but that's definitely different conceptually from the concept of record playback like we used to know it, because it's we're striving to the automation factory that requires lesser to non-human interaction from beginning to the end. In the historical test automation, software automation era, we've been using and building the tool for coders, because automators in the commotion of automation were the key element of driving automation altogether. And predominantly in the pre-AI era, the human coding skills was essential. It's a skill that takes long time to develop, and it takes time to mature, and it's very mission critical part of the process. In today's world, we're moving into the manager's world, where the decision making and ability to manage AI driven artifacts will be essential. So the game is happening right now. It's not about how quick you can write the code. Copilot, either it's a ZapTest Copilot, it's a GitHub Copilot, any Copilot writes code 100 times faster than human. So our skill set as automators escalated. We we're not acting as a head-down coder. We're more acting as a automation architects, being able to analyze system prompt based on the user prompt that we presented to them. And in our case, user prompt presented by AI in the previous phase. So we have a technology that allows you to connect to any source technology, let's say Jira, for example, or Azure, right? Take all the documentation that you have there. It's maybe a mix of use cases, different format test cases, anything that you present with. By one click, analyze everything, present you with already sorted out automational modules with the criteria of probability, test data, reusable automation modules, everything. Just a matter of literally seconds, if you will. Now, with the second click, once you analyze that, it moves to the Copilot and generates for you automatically all the source code that's this artifact used as a user prompt for a Copilot. Make sense? You don't need to have any human interaction in this phases just yet. All you need to do is to have a few subject matter experts, one SME that understand what needs to be automated and be able to QA the system prompt that the system returned to them. Another specialist in your process will be automator pretty much, that acts as an automation architect that knows enough about the coding to read the code, adjust some interaction with the live system, which needed, and pass it back to the SME, the manual tester, for execution. Make sense? So commotion of record playback, but basically being replaced with the fluent data processing.
So, David, you heard that. How much is that as BS? As Alex mentioned, marketing used to be record and playback. You mentioned AI. This seems like a perfect solution if it worked, because you said you're not really a coder, but you understand it. You're more of an architect leadership role. How much is this the real deal that Alex just mentioned?
It's pretty real. I mean, I've seen it in action and things like that. I mean, let's say nothing's perfect, and I don't think anything will ever live up to its marketing. Yeah. But I will say that I haven't seen anything that comes close, to this as far as hands off and being able to do it without having that intervention. Because you're gonna run into things. Nothing's perfect. But yeah, I don't think anything else touches it.
Look, we're standing up for 6 months with the risk not getting paid for this promise, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah, let me say that a different way. Alex is willing to let you use this tool for 6 months without getting paid to make sure it works. So that is sort of putting his money where the mouth where the money is, money where the mouth is.
I'm a market disruptor career-wise, because with all my activities, no matter I've been consulting an organization, I've been developing technology to support processes, I will always, and this is my motto for ZapTest, it's to challenge the technological situation and make a extraordinary situation as a new normal, pretty much, right? So, and this is how we can advance as a technologist. This is our mission, to see innovation earlier than our customers, using all our experience and confidence in the market, right? And standing behind our promise. Because today, to onboard technology, it's a very long commitment, right? And you have to offer your prospect absolutely risk-free environment, pretty much, the all parameters for them to onboard it, evaluate it, and use it on a daily basis for many years in advance.
Yeah, this is one of the things I love about Alex, is that he comes at things from a different angle, from the parties that he throws at the conferences to how he markets the thing, and also this coming in for 6 months free. And let's face it, your career can be affected by the tools you choose. It's a big decision, especially whenever you're taking the organization in a certain way. And so it's an important decision. So being able to look at it, kick the tires for 6 months and everything, it's a pretty big deal.
And I always say seeing is believing. Alex, I think we have some sort of demo of ZapTest in action. Maybe we can give a little teaser of what this is all about. What do you think?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to the next era of test automation. ZapTest proudly presents Plan Studio, an innovative AI-powered solution crafted to simplify test case management and seamlessly prepare them for automation. Import test cases stored in the Jira X-ray component directly into Plan Studio. Once imported, test cases are displayed in a clear and accessible format with intuitive options for viewing, sorting, and filtering. Processing selected test cases begins with a single click. Our multi-phase AI-driven process evaluates each case automatically, identifying those that meet ZapTest automation criteria. Plan Studio identifies common functional areas, input and output parameters, and repeated steps to create reusable modules. Each phase uses specially trained AI models to ensure precision and accuracy. After processing, test cases are clearly marked for automation suitability, along with associated parameters and reusable modules. You can sort and filter these test cases to create snapshots and generate insightful reports. Additionally, reusable actions and parameters are listed separately to support scripting and test data preparation. The final step involves an AI-powered transformation of your test cases into procedural or reusable scripts. Complete these scripts by adding UI objects, parameterized data, and leveraging ZapTest Copilot to make them execution-ready for your application under test. This process is designed to require minimal or no user interaction, as Copilot works with object repositories and automatically generates script steps. Book a demo and let us show you ZapTest AI, the technology that is changing the market, where Plan Studio is just the beginning. Thanks for watching, and let's zap.
Now, this is a demo, so is this really baked in right now, or is this something that's in the works?
Well, yeah, most of it is already there. So we actually showing the live demo to the prospects once they're interested in this technology. Yes.
Very cool.
It's
David,
not the only technology. It's not the only process that we have in ZapTest. We have other approaches and other plays that we carry on historically with the more traditional automation, which also pretty advanced for a current market. We can automate on the mockups. We can automate on the video scenarios. Because the nature of our object recognition and intentionally been designed from the day one as alternative to what market is used to, it's based on the computer vision. It's not the dumb object recognition. So it treats any user interface, either maybe video or image or the live application per se, of course, as the same way. So this solution equally adaptable by any department within the enterprise. Either by DevOps, of course, for test automation or unit testing, or by the BizOps to reapply the scripts or the approach with the same tool to the RPA tasks. And this is a huge market. I mean, it's even bigger. With the rise of AI, that's going to be a very big market for any automators, because organization will be led to optimize the productivity by automating the end user tasks, pretty much, right? And having technology that seamlessly can apply to any automation within the organization, which also leads to the center of excellence. I'm a big fan of center of excellences, because I know with my 20+ year practice in the larger scale enterprises that center of excellence pretty much is a solution for seamless automation across the board.
David, any thoughts on that demo?
I saw it. We sat down and he played it for me, and I was watching it, and I'm thinking, okay, this is where we're going. This is what we need. I do have a question for you, Alex. This is a part of the overall tool, right? It's not a separate tool, is it?
No, not at all. We don't separate tools. We only build everything in a ZapTest as a one tool, which has a multiple studios. What happened is we offer an organization unlimited licenses. So once the one group adopts us, everybody, say in Delta, can use us across the board. Make sense? BizOps team, DevOps team, everybody, day one. So for that said, each group has a different process, meaning different roles in the process. You may have manual testers, you may have a business analyst, you may have clerical workers that knows what they want to automate. For that sake, they don't need the entire tool. They can select only studios where they're going to act. Make sense? Like, for example, manual testers or business analysts may only use a rec studio. They can disable a lot of studios. We're hiding them right now in the drawer, so they won't be distracting them, right? And that's very simple to use. Let's say automators going to use only one script. Performance team going to use only Load Studio. And we also offer API. We offer WebDriver integration. There are so many plays that you as a technology team can implement, applying to what you're doing today, and gradually optimize your productivity to whatever you want to be tomorrow. Make sense? We don't force you to drop everything what you know and start using AI. Absolutely not. But for the teams that onboarding automation for new projects and they open to start a new style automation, ZapTest AI will be a good solution to start with, as is.
All right, David, it sounds like ZapTest has modules for everything, but and Alex always seems to have an answer for everything. But we like to play a game here called Stump Alex Zap. How would you automate that game? So just curious to know if you can give Alex one of your most bizarre scenarios of maybe technologies you could see, skill sets a team might have, the different type of dynamics there, and maybe we could see how Alex would address that issue using ZapTest.
Okay, so Alex, I am an HR manager. I'm thinking on this RPA, I'm thinking on this center of excellence kind of thing where there's people able to help me with my automation. And I want to make sure that when somebody's getting hired and, that final approval has to go in and the process, automating the process of hiring somebody and that final approval. Can you do something like reach to an LDAP server, pull the hiring manager's name, and send them something so that they can hit an approve button and have that automated? We're getting completely away from software testing, right?
Absolutely. We can do that. But before we move to the Center of Excellence, we would have done some kind of, because Center of Excellence in our definition, it's an organized automation group or organization within the large enterprise that serves as a singular point of automation for all groups within the organization. Doesn't matter, it's a BizOps or DevOps, right? Same processes, their engineers trained on the same skill set, so it's very efficient. And artifacts that they automate that's maybe repurposed will be repurposed, so you don't need to double time yourself, right? So that's the main add value from Center of Excellence. But if we'll talk about the RPA automation in this particular case, right? So we usually ask our prospects about multiple parameters at the beginning to understand the situation, right? As automators, we need to understand what we automate. If it's a HR system, it probably will have multiple applications in the chain, right? Usually RPA more challenging for automation than testing, because in the testing, we're talking about one or maybe few applications and the predominant, right? In the RPA automation, you have a wild west of applications and the different permissions. In the larger organization, more secure it is. So you have to negotiate all the permissions and the connectivities from one phase to another, from one application to another, right? So that's the one thing we need to consider. To answer that, as I mentioned, we use computer vision object recognition, and we have also API automation. So for RPA, it's a perfect solution because you don't need to negotiate any instrumentation of the particular application in the automation chain, right? So it automates seamlessly any PDF file as a SAP, as a web, and the legacy systems. Exactly the same way in even mobile, right? So secondary, when we establish that, we talk about who's going to be involved in the automation. So per se, if it's an RPA team, most likely you don't have automators on the staff just yet, right? So you probably have a number of clerical personnel, maybe business analyst type, people that knows the process, code, of course, and they can advise automators what needs to be automated. For convenience sake, we include the onboarding package. We're offering full-time Zap expert that appointed and assigned to the particular custom. Make sense? It's absolutely complementary. It's like a hybrid model between the dedicated consultant that can help to do kind of hand-holding and implementing thing, and the first-tier support engineer assigned to this particular account, that they know the people, they know the process, and they're more familiar and can answer the question fast. So if that group doesn't have technical personnel, our expert can act as one. And let's say we can either use the AI process, what we kind of considering right now, or alternatively, HR team can record video scenarios for us. We have a rec studio that allows you one simple click. You don't need to get any training, nothing. It's very intuitive. One big red button in the middle. That's all you need to click. And you have a recorder turn on. And it records end user action with audio narration also. So you can connect your audio device and explain steps and details. So that becomes as a video within the ZapTest. They signal to the automator, or maybe our Zap expert at that time, or maybe anyone else within the company that's assigned to support them. And the automator converts, first of all, automator understands the scenario with all the details. It's improved change management, because you probably know that one of the biggest challenges is understanding precisely if we're meaning the same thing. And if we're on the different time zone, if we're distributed team, working on different locations, sometimes it's maybe challenging, sometimes and many times it's prolonged all the automation process, right? It takes longer time. So video with the audio narration precisely explain all the details, no question asked, automator capable to understand the automation scenario, capable to parse the video into the object repository with single click. So you have all the objects here, you understand scenario, you can construct script with Copilot. If you have prompts, if you're willing to go and equip your HR team to actually use AI for that, they can use the Plant Studio, what I just showed you. That's even easier. No video need to be recorded. They just upload the documentation which explain the processes and step-by-step execution. It creates automation modules, and it goes through the process what we showed you. You don't even need to write anything manually. You just need to review it and maybe adjust it for execution. The simplicity of that it's always pretty much the same thing, no matter what you do.
So, yes.
And I just want to remind people, this is completely unscripted. Alex did not get the scenario ahead of time, and bam, you just got a bunch of information.
Honest to goodness.
You've been zapped, for sure. And if someone's listening and they want to play the Stump Alex Zap game yourself, you can actually get a free ZapTest demo using the link down below and see it for yourself. All right, so as we wrap things up, we're heading into 2025. And I'm just curious to get people's visions on the future of automation. So, David, you've been there from a long time with mobile and now DevOps and all this. So where do you see, and we talked about AI, where do you see the future of automation yourself?
I really think that you're looking at a time where things will get smarter. We'll be able to integrate into more systems. We'll be able to get past just testing and software and you really get into the process testing, because when you're trying to do DevOps, it's really, really important to have all those processes followed really well and quickly and everything flowing back and forth. And you don't need a human to pass along information and make sure a process is followed properly. So if you can have something else do that and people can focus on their work, that whole reaching for DevOps and trying to get there becomes a lot easier. And so I think a lot of the companies out there that are trying to improve and things like that are going to be greatly helped by the ability of AI to actually come in and automate things they've not been able to automate things they haven't been able to automate before, especially processes.
Alex, what are your thoughts?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, part of my job as a brand leader is to forecast the future. And I'm all eyes on the latest innovation in AI and how the corporate world is moving I just recently finished absorbing Gartner coverage of AI and the best practices for leadership to be ready for that. And absolutely, I just wish everybody not to panic. I'll try to be friendly with AI as much as you can, because that's going to be new normal. At Zap, we commanded all the personnel to use AI to boost productivity within the company, no matter what you do. You're in the marketing, you're in the development, everybody using the different forms of AI. And I think we're going to be much better world with the AI, because technology always unite people and make world a better place.
All right, Alex, do you measure that? Like, how productive has your team been now since implementing AI? Or are you still not?
Very productive, very productive. I mean, for any one of us today, especially in the States, we have access to all the latest and greatest generative AI. Even if you have it on your phone, no matter what vendor it is, you see how quick it answers your questions. So if you ask about the weather or the history or any other topic, and it's give you, the excellent responses, same thing applies to productivity at work. I use AI, my personal AI assistant all the time, brainstorming ideas, brainstorming kind of models, challenging AI. How would it work? Would it work? Would it not work? It helps me a lot. But the same way, I think once the corporation going to let the employees use it more and support them using it more, it's going to boost the productivity. Absolutely.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks again, David, for joining us. And thank you, Alex, for another awesome Zap Talk.
Thank you. Be happy and let's Zap.